program is brought to you by Strategies for Wealth Management.
Welcome to Smart Retirement, sponsored by Strategies for Wealth Management. My name is Laura Lehrhaupt, and I'm here today joined with my husband, Michael Lehrhaupt.
Hello.
And we are so excited because we are going to be bringing great education about retirement planning and making people's dreams and goals come true in retirement with this TV show. We are so happy.
Absolutely. Look, we've been in this business for a long time, met thousands of people. We know what works, we know what doesn't, and we're here to share some really valuable information to help people live their retirement of their dreams.
People look forward to this, and yet there's so much tension and stress about it. We've done this, I won't say how long.
As long as we've been married.
Over 30 years. And there's a lot of angst around it, and so I think it's really helpful to provide information to people so they don't have to be worried about their future plans and what they want to do when they retire.
So let's start off with the word retirement. Truth be told, I hate the word retirement.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think it's your grandparents' retirement, where someone moved to Florida, sat on a rocking chair, and that was it. Retirement has changed over the years. We call it the new retirement.
Or some people now are calling it desirement.
Desirement, yeah.
So, and I like that. I think that's really good. I think it shows up in many ways. We've had clients come up to us and tell us, I'm going to be a barista in a coffee shop, right?
I had a client, very successful business client, and you know what? He actually wanted to be a barista in a coffee shop. Yeah. Now, the fact is, he retired. He wanted to do it. It wasn't for the money. It was because he wanted to do it. He lasted about a month and said that was it. And now he's consulting.
Right.
But we have seen people, what we call, what is your retirement vision? What vision do you want in retirement?
Yeah.
And it all has to do with financial independence, right? So we don't want you working 9 to 5 till you're 95. You want the money to do the things you want to do. But some examples are, we had one client, his goal was to visit every baseball stadium in the United States.
I know.
We have another client, swimmer,
right? We had another client. We still have. She's wonderful. Her goal, it was more of a physical marathon type challenge. Yeah. She actually swam the English Channel. Yeah. And that was something she wanted to do. Now, she was financially set up. We helped her with that. So she could go do that. She didn't have to worry when she left to go do that there was going to be problems back home. So that is what we're talking about today. How to set yourself up to have the retirement you dreamed of, and what this new retirement looks like and why it is different. Yeah, and I think this is important. Why is it so different?
Well, look, the world has changed. The way we watch movies have changed. The way we listen to music has changed. The way we talk on the phone has changed. The cars we drive have changed, and retirement has changed, right? And that's real key. What we'll really talk about here is longevity.
So true.
We're all living longer.
Yes.
And because we're living longer, I got good news and bad news, right? The good news is most people live a long life.
Wonderful.
The bad news is most people live a long life. There are risks involved in that, and that's the thing we have to prepare for, because the longer you live, the higher the risks of certain things.
And you've got to make your money last a lifetime, and we don't know how long a lifetime is, right? So if you've got good genes in your family, well, good for you, but now we also have to have great planning, because what's the biggest fear?
So there was a recent study done by a large insurance company, and 62% of people, their biggest fear is running out of money before they run out of life. Bigger than death itself. But here's the opposite side. Only 40% of people have a written income plan. So it shows that there's a big concern, but not a lot of people do the planning for it.
Well, I think that goes hand in hand with the fact that it's so stressful that when people start thinking about it, they get too stressed to even approach it. So,
and it is stressful. We've seen that.
It can be.
And it can be. We try to make it fun.
Absolutely.
Let's have some fun with this. It's desirement, But look, there's a saying, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So, planning and being prepared for these things. Like if you're 65 and you live to 90, that's 25 years of income you have to make last. That's the problem, longevity, right? And so there's some trends in what we call the new retirement. There's some trends.
And the trends that are happening in the retirement planning industry, because it is an industry
it's
upon
definitely
itself.
An industry,
So what people don't realize is, in addition to having new phones, new cars, new ways of watching movies. By the way, I used to love going to Blockbuster. That used to be fun for me. I had a good time doing that.
We've been married
over 30 years.
Yeah.
There's now new financial accounts that can help you make your money last a lifetime. And a lot of people don't understand that things change. Even if you have a current retirement plan, you may need to revisit because some of the old things that worked, 5 years ago may be able to be upgraded.
Well, Laura, there's a saying, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, you say that a lot. You do.
I don't try to say it a lot. I apologize if I do.
No, it's a good thing.
But there are financial vehicles and tools and products on the market today that might be able to really help you plan that desirement, that successful retirement, the retirement of your dreams.
Yeah.
But a lot of people may not know about them, so it's really important to understand that there's new things, just like the world's changed. We weren't using iPhones years ago. There's new things on the market today that can really help an individual plan.
And that's why it's so important not to work by yourself, to incorporate the help of somebody. I'm calling it the contemporary retiree.
Oh, I like
has
that.
A lot of good options. So as financial planners, we also now have amazing tools at our fingertips that years ago, your grandparents, my grandparents, didn't have the kind of tools that we can use for people to help their planning.
Well,
right?
just look at computers and the different things, and artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, there are financial planning tools right now that can show when the best time to take Social Security is. If someone needs to do a conversion, I don't want to get too technical, but a Roth conversion.
Yeah.
Or, how a portfolio might be projected to do in the future. There's a thing called a Monte Carlo simulation, which takes 1,000 different scenarios and shows the percentage of success of your retirement income lasting a certain length
And this
of time.
is somewhat new software that has been incorporated in the industry that is available to some financial planners. And it really makes the process so much simpler for people when they can see it in black and white, right? When they can look at it.
Look, most good advisors have these tools at their fingertips.
Yeah.
And they're very, very useful.
I think people don't realize that, though. So it's important to let everybody know, hey, there are options out there. You can have the help of the latest and greatest new tools that are available to financial
And
planners.
then the last thing is what we call a clear process, a simple, easy, clear process for your planning.
Yeah, you want to work with somebody who makes it easier for you, right? Why would you go to somebody who complicates it, where you walk in with questions and you leave with the same questions, or you leave with more questions on top of your questions? So keeping the process easy, keeping it simple, and when you leave, whoever you're working with, you should feel really confident.
How many times have we had a client come in and I just met with someone else, I'm so confused, I'm so nervous, I don't know what to do. And I think, the thing, we try to calm them and say, you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
That's the right planner. You got to get the right planner to work with
you. It's
you.
going to be okay because we know the risks and we can actually help you and we can focus on making sure that we protect and cover those risks.
Yeah, so speaking of those risks, let's move on to another big part of retirement planning that people are concerned about. There are risks that affect the portfolio or your financial status when you're ready to retire. We've identified 5 of them. There are probably more, but these are the 5 big ones that we want to identify for our audience today and let them know.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Look, if you're 55 or over, statistically, you will face 4 to 6 financial storms in the market during your lifetime, if you live in average retirement.
Can we identify some of those just so everybody understands what a financial storm is?
A financial storm, I'm talking just, by the way, I'm just talking about the market, right?
Right.
The volatility of the market, like the 2008 financial storm, right?
Exactly.
But there are other risks involved that are outside of it. My point is, I talk about the surprises. Surprises happen at any point, any time.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that I see really can devastate someone's financial plan going forward. They're not prepared for the surprises.
Surprises that we have no control over.
Correct.
I think that's what you mean by the storm. Is they're unexpected, they're nothing we have control over, and yet they affect us greatly. They impact our portfolio.
2008 was a huge surprise.
Yeah.
COVID was a huge surprise.
Absolutely.
Wars pop up. Everything affects everything. We're all connected.
So let's identify the 5 risks, right? The
Okay.
first one we affectionately called the tax typhoon.
Right. So the tax typhoon, here's the thing. So many people have done such a good job growing their money.
Yeah.
But a lot of people focus their growth in 401ks and IRAs and what we call 403bs and retirement plans. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great. If you've done that, congratulations. I'm so proud of you.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But the problem is, we had a client, they had $2 million.
That's amazing.
In their IRAs
save that,
and
yes.
401ks.
Right, good
so
job.
that's great, but they haven't paid taxes on that. So when you pull it out, guess what you're going to pay?
You're going to pay taxes. It's inevitable.
Now, the government owns about 1/3 of that account. So there are different ways you can reduce your tax liability, but the fact of the matter is those taxes have to be paid.
So as you're planning retirement, that is something you have to keep top of mind. How am I going to take the money out without, getting this tax typhoon, as we so affectionately call it?
And yeah, the tax typhoon is what we're talking about is, hey, if you've done a good job saving your money and growing your money, but a lot of it is in retirement accounts, you need a strategy to take it out that's going to at least be aware of the taxes.
Exactly. We call it pre-tax, right?
Yeah.
We haven't paid taxes yet, which is good when you're growing it and saving it because it just keeps growing on top of itself. Tax deferred is wonderful. But you got to pay the piper, and the piper is the government.
And there are ways to do this that can reduce your tax liability.
Smart ways, absolutely. Okay, this is another one. I don't know. I always think of my dad when I think of this because it's market volatility.
So let's explain what we mean by market volatility.
I think that's a good idea. And then I'll mention my dad and why I always think of him about this.
Well, look, the market is unpredictable. And there are times, look, when we talk about the market could only do one of three things in any given day. It'd either go up, go down, or stay flat,
True.
Right?
Yeah.
But there are times when the market could go up and down, very volatile. And that's a very scary thing for people in retirement because if you're in retirement and you're taking money out of your portfolio to live on and you get a crash in the market, I call it a triple whammy. Because the money went down, you took the money out, you had to pay the taxes on the money, and then if the market recovers, the money's not recovering, it's gone.
So this is where I would go to my dad's house and visit him, and then he would be sitting in front of the TV with the ticker at the bottom because all his money was in this volatility that Michael's talking about right now, where he was, can I have dinner? Can I go out for dinner tonight? Or maybe I shouldn't because now the market went down kind of thing. And it's a very scary way to live, worried about the stock market.
Yes, is your future based on the mercy of the market?
Yeah, very difficult.
And the reason I say that is, we like to focus on what we call a rock-solid retirement plan.
Yes.
Protect, preserve, grow. Right.
Right.
And we call that building a strong foundation. That's what we believe in personally. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is the volatility. In 2008, I saw people living the most beautiful retirement lives, traveling, doing everything they can do. And then overnight, their 401ks became 201ks, and they're going, now what do we do? They didn't plan well. I saw people who wanted to retire 3 years, 5 years, in 2008. They wanted, I'm going to retire in 3 years or 5 years. And the market went up and down like a roller coaster. And they didn't know if they had more or less in retirement.
Yeah, they were looking at a plump 401k, and then all of a sudden it got extremely emaciated and went down.
The juice got squeezed out of it.
The juice, I like that.
But the fact of the matter is most people in retirement don't want that. They want to live in retirement where they can go out and do the things they want to do without the worry of their money going up and down. And so that's a risk.
It's a risk, and you have to mitigate it, understand it, and know how to fix it so that your retirement plan reflects your ability to handle the risk.
And by the way, there are financial tools, there are financial products out there that can do that for you.
Yes.
And that's really important. That's why we say there's new things out there today that can actually mitigate
new
that
accounts.
risk. Yeah.
All right, another one. This is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Because it relates back to being afraid of running out of money, is we call it the income dilemma.
And that's what we call it, by the way.
Yeah,
we have phrased that income dilemma.
Yeah. Right. So this is about I just met with somebody, been working for a company 43 years, which is amazing. Who hears of that anymore? Yeah. And I said to him, are you excited? And he really said to me, I'm excited, but I'm worried not to get my paycheck anymore after 43 years. He said, I'm worried about, it's going to feel weird, and I'm afraid I'm not going to have money, even though he worked there for 43 years. So we call this the income dilemma.
Yeah, we're going to go over this in another segment too about income coming up.
Yeah, we'll come
But the income dilemma really has to do with how do we make sure that your money lasts forever, even though we don't know how long forever is.
Right.
Now, look, in and of itself, it's a huge problem. It's a big deal. But this is why we say use a professional, because a professional who focuses on income planning, retirement income planning, knows the tools, knows the things you need to look for to make sure that you have an income plan to last forever. And that's what we call the income dilemma.
And I think a lot of people look at this dilemma and they think that the Social Security is going to be the thing that gets them over. But the truth is it's often not enough to sustain or give people the retirement desirement that they were hoping for, right? And so you really have to understand your Social Security benefits as well, because yes, it is part of your income, but a lot of times it doesn't satisfy the needs in retirement, because there's that saying, every day is Saturday.
So retirement. And that phrase comes from, if you think about what day of the week does people spend the most money?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Because Saturday is the day they go out shopping, they go out to eat, maybe they see a movie, they entertain, they have the free time. Well, in retirement, you have a lot of free time. You're not going to sit at home twiddling your thumbs doing nothing.
Yes.
You're going to want to go out and do stuff, and it usually costs money.
And that's why Social Security is great, but not enough.
It's not enough.
Not enough.
Usually for most people, it's not enough to live the retirement of their dreams.
Exactly.
Right?
It depends on their vision.
It's a good basic start, but then it starts with, do you have a pension? What are the best options for the pension, right?
Right.
And then your 401ks, your IRAs, since they're pre-tax money, you didn't pay taxes on it. In my opinion, that's the money you want to pull out slowly over time to actually supplement your income.
Yes, and we're going to get into that in just a few minutes.
Definitely.
But okay, another risk is legacy, planning for what you leave behind. If you want to leave anything behind, because we do have clients that say, I don't want to leave anything behind. I want to use it all. My kids have enough.
I hope your parents don't say that.
Very funny.
Yeah, it's surprising how many people do say, I've taken care of my kids, I want to spend it all.
They're doing good enough. We don't need to get, but I like that too, because there's the opposite side of the coin where people are afraid to spend their money. So I like that people want to spend it all as well.
I just said it to a client yesterday. I said, well, okay, he's afraid of getting income because of taxes he has to pay, right?
I know.
But at the same time, I said, if you don't spend it, you're going to leave it somewhere else. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
But the thing is, legacy is, look, if you do want to leave money to a loved one, either a spouse or children or friend or anybody, there are effective ways to do it, but you have to consider taxes on that issue too. So there are effective ways to do it where you can effectively either reduce or eliminate taxes on the money you want to leave as legacy.
This is too important to really try to figure it out yourself.
Yes.
I feel like, you want to do a good thing and leave something for either your favorite charity or your family or whatever, and a lot of times it doesn't always work out the way they hoped. We've heard some stories about not planning well and really just leaving a tax burden for their loved ones, and it wasn't intentional, but it just has to do with not planning properly.
Look, I do want to clear something up before we move further.
Yeah.
Look, as a certified financial fiduciary, look, we could sit here and talk about concepts and strategies, but I do want to stress to everybody, before you make any move, you do need to meet with a professional, because it's really, really important. I mean, we can talk about concepts, but we don't know if those concepts fit situations. So as we talk, we're just offering suggestions here, but definitely it's something that, we need to make sure as a certified financial fiduciary or any fiduciary, it needs to make sense.
And I also think it's important to bring it to people's awareness. Like, a lot of people don't think about that when they think about retirement planning. Oh, legacy is part of that.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely part.
Like, some people don't even think about tomorrow and what dinner's going to be. You know what I mean? So it's like important to raise the awareness of these risks that people face in retirement, and that is a big one if you in fact want to leave some sort of legacy.
Now the fifth one.
Yeah.
Right.
This is one that we often don't factor into our retirement, and it's unexpected healthcare costs.
So let me set the stage. When you turn 65, you're now eligible for Medicare.
Right.
And Medicare will cover your doctors and hospitals. Pretty good, but there's some things they won't pay for. And that's why people pick up these Medicare Supplement or Medicare Advantage plans. Between Medicare Advantage or Supplement and Medicare, in my opinion, doctors and hospitals are covered pretty well. But there's one area it's not covered, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think it's what people don't factor it in because they don't really like to think about it, but long-term care, where you're going to need ongoing care that could last a while, and that's not covered.
Now, a lot of people think long-term care is about nursing home. It's not. It's about, you could get it at home, assisted living, adult daycare, or nursing home, but it's really what we call custodial care, help with day-to-day activities of living. If all you need physically or cognitively is help with day-to-day activities of living, eating, walking, dressing, going to the bathroom, you're on your own.
Right.
And nothing covers it. And I've seen people save up their whole lives in a matter of a few years be wiped out.
Yeah,
that's an important issue.
We had that client. She came into you and she was asking, do we do reverse mortgages? Because, right?
So here's the thing. I want you to understand all five of these, the tax typhoon, the market volatility, the income dilemma, the legacy, the unexpected healthcare costs, oftentimes are all connected.
Yeah.
They're not happen in a bubble, right? So think of 2008. Here's a quick story, right? In 2008, well, actually, after 2008, I was doing an educational seminar, and after the seminar, a person came in, a woman came in, she was like 65, around that age, and she was crying. She was physically upset. I need help, I need help, I need help, can you help me? Well, the fact was, she told me her story, and she goes, do you do reverse mortgages? Now, we don't do reverse mortgages. It's a way to tap into your equity of your house, but we don't necessarily do that, but I knew there was a money issue there, right?
Yeah.
So here's her story. Her and her husband had $3 million. Really nice portfolio.
Yeah.
Her husband thought he was a stock-picking genius, but he got caught by surprise and made some serious mistakes in 2008, and their $3 million went down to $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Now, many people say that's still a decent amount to have. No argument there.
Yeah.
But he lost his job. Remember, in 2008, people lost jobs. So now he had no income coming in. They had to use the money for income, and they were living pretty high on the hog because they were used to that. And then he had a massive stroke, wound up in a nursing home.
And there's that unexpected health care.
Money wiped out.
Yeah.
And this poor woman was left with the equity of her house and Social Security. At least she had the equity of her house.
Yeah.
But that's what we're trying to avoid when we talk about the risk.
Yeah. Right? And I think it's really important to know them, be aware of them, and if you can, get help for them. Yeah. So we have to talk about one last thing before we wrap it up today, and that's just income versus IFCOM. And we talked about at the top of the show, people are afraid of running out of money more than death itself.
Exactly.
So you just wanted to mention that. IFCOM versus
like
income.
I said before, there's a recent study done, 62%, the biggest fear is running out of money before they run out of life, right?
Right.
And that is a huge fear, more than death itself. So, we have this saying here, do you have an income plan or an IFCOM plan? And let's explain this. An IFCOM plan is based on uncertainties. It's based on market volatility.
Like my dad,
like your
sitting
dad.
and watching the ticker.
So a lot of financial advisors are taught to tell their clients, let's put you in a diversified portfolio of 60%, 40% stocks, bonds, and let's pull out 4% adjusted for inflation. And if the market averages X amount, and if inflation stays at a certain amount, and if there's no black swan event, and if there's no surprises in the market, and if you don't have an unexpected healthcare cost, and if this, maybe, just maybe your money will last a lifetime. That's very uncertain.
That is
There's
so
no way to live in
stressful. Even when
retirement.
you're saying it, I found myself like, just everything's riding on a bunch of uncertain situations that happen and we have no control over. That's the biggest problem.
So what we recommend is an income plan. An income plan is based on guarantees and certainties. And I'll give you a good income plan. A rock solid income plan must include three things.
Yeah.
It must be predictable. It must be sustainable, and it must be increasing. And I have an example of this.
Yeah, so your mom, we set your mom up very well because she knows she gets her monthly check. You call it mailbox money.
I'm going to go over with my mom. I mean, she's my favorite client.
Yeah, right? That's right. Sorry.
No, but that's okay. My mom lives in a place called the Villages in Florida.
Yes.
Right? And when we're in a live audience, people laugh at that because they know the Villages in Florida is quite a place, right? I joke around. She's on her fourth husband. Technically, I know you're making a face of me. The third husband was a keeper. 25 years of marriage.
He provided well.
He provided well. Great stepdad. He passed away. My mother was left with a pension and some Social Security. But whatever money she had left, we set up for an income plan. And predictable means that it's mailbox money, like you had said. Every month.
Yeah. She takes that money. Sometimes she's like, I don't know what to do with it. What should I do? Go get yourself something. Go shop.
But it's predictable, mailbox money.
Yes.
The second thing is sustainable. And this is the real key here.
Yeah.
Sustainable means no matter how long my mom lives, her paycheck will last forever.
And that gives her so much comfort. I mean, yes, the Villages is a fun place, but I think for your mom, it's even better now because she knows that she's got this fun money coming. She's not working anymore. And she's just enjoying herself doing what she wants, which is line dancing and hanging out with friends and mahjong and all that fun stuff.
She'll probably be mad at me because at the airing of this show, she's 79.
Will you stop telling her?
But anyways, look, she's in great health.
She is.
And the fact is, if she dies before the money's used up, it'll go to my brother and myself. But if she outlives the money, if account balance goes to zero, we set her up that her income lasts forever, no matter how long.
And it can grow. We've got it so that it can keep up with inflation.
Well, that's the next thing, increasing.
Yeah.
Because we know the cost of goods are going to go up. And in fact, I was just reading an article how, just everything goes up. Like, I was reading an article about rentals, how rental properties are going up.
Yeah.
And, taxes go up and everything goes up and we need income to keep pace with that, right? So predictable, sustainable, increasing income is what we call a rock solid retirement plan. There are ways to do it, but again, I like that better than an IFCOM plan.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that birthday cake scenario. Remember when we mentioned the birthday cake scenario?
Yes.
What we call it, the birthday cake problem?
Yes, where you have birthday cake at a birthday party and you don't know how many people are coming, and if you run out, you're going to leave a little kid crying hysterically. But what if you had a truck outside with cakes unlimited and you could give as many slices out as big as you wanted, and that's sort of how we look at that income.
Income. I mean, the idea is if you're in charge of a birthday cake and you have all these kids and they sing happy birthday, now it's time to cut the cake, right? If you cut the cake pieces too big, you may run out of cake
Yeah.
and leave some kids without cake. If you cut them too small, everybody calls you cheap.
Right.
And say, why didn't you cut them bigger? But imagine if you cut a reasonable piece of cake and you ran out of cake, but there's a bakery truck in the driveway,
right.
we can go get another cake.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a way to look at it
It
as
takes
well.
the pressure off. What I'm hearing and what I think we both agree with and what we've heard from our own people clients that we work with, happiness is income. Income is happiness. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Kiplingers did a study.
Yeah.
And it showed the more guaranteed lifetime retirement income someone has, the happier they are in retirement. Why do you think that's true?
Because they don't have to worry. They don't have stress.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we've helped a lot of our viewers out there today get some really good information, feel a little bit better, maybe a lot better about retirement planning. Thank you so much for
the goal,
joining
right?
me. Yeah, it is
That's
the goal.
the goal. We love to help and do what we can. And in future episodes, we're going to talk about other topics.
That sounds good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so happy that you joined Smart Retirement. And I hope you join us next time where we're going to hit on some other really great topics that pertain to you and your retirement dreams. Have a great day. The preceding program was brought to you by Strategies for Wealth Management.
I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lin.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Wooden.
Decision for ourselves for this week if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the cliffs with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time.
Follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.